welcome to Television Tonga's news package for tonight. Making headlines, His Majesty to commission Hapai's Causeway tomorrow. The first pilot license authorized to be issued in Tonga was presented yesterday. A tragic car accident in Taylorville, New Zealand claims the lives of a Tongan mother and her teenage son. And the 4-day starts today. These and more stories later on in this bulletin, together with the latest from around the region, sports, international scene and the weather. I'm Fatai Whenga with your news for tonight. His Majesty King Debo VI will commission a causeway in Hapai tomorrow morning. The causeway runs from Foa to Lifuka. His Majesty arrived on the island today and was warmly welcomed by the residents. The causeway's span is 575 meters long. The total upgrade work is about 680 meter long from Lifuka to Foa, including the roadworks beyond each approach to the causeway. Meanwhile, Radio and Television Tonga's crew is on the island to cover the event, which will be broadcast on Radio Tonga 1 and 2 at 10 tomorrow morning. The program of service to mark the new causeway will be led by the President of the Free Wesleyan Church of Tonga, Reverend Dr. Ahio. The Honourable Prime Minister, Lord Duwano, will also participate in the ceremony, along with the Hapai Governor, Lord Tuihangana, Lord Vaea, the Minister for Internal Affairs. The Honourable Minister of Health, Lord Te Awhito, the Minister of Finance and National Planning, Lisa Te Akolo, Germany's Honorary Consul to Tonga, Carl Senth, and many more. The construction of the causeway is estimated at 4 million pa'anga. It's funded by the Tongan government as part of its agreement with its German counterpart regarding Tonga's multi-million pa'anga loan from Germany. Under the agreement, Tonga is not required to clear its loan with Germany, instead use the money for a development project, hence the construction of the causeway. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Sami Vaipulu, presented 2 licenses to Captain Samuela Falamoitui and his co-pilot, Christopher Ray, at the Ministry of Infrastructure office. Kalistu Nuku was there and filed this report.
This is the first time for a pilot license to be authorized to be issued in Tonga. Such licenses are normally issued overseas, according to the Deputy Prime Minister Sami Vaipulu. The current license from China expires today, so the ministry has been authorized to locally endorse their license and issue it in Tonga. Previously, we had a visit from experts who were here to develop a requirement standard which enable local pilots here to obtain. Both men initially received a 6-month license each from China. The licenses which were presented yesterday are the renewal and 1-year extension of their license. The pilots will be able to continue to fly the MA-60 aircraft for its domestic service. The Ministry of Infrastructure acts as a regulator and checks that pilots meet all the international standards and requirements before pilots can receive a license. Now that Tonga has been authorized to issue such licenses, there is an allocated fund available to help meet the conditions and standards. The funds are from the tax from the safety levy. Those funds were able to bring in experts from abroad to renew the standards and further develop or improve if needed. The license issued in Tonga is also recognized in other Pacific countries. There are 7 domestic pilots working in Tonga. For Television Tonga News, I'm Kalisi Tuyonuku.
17 justices of the peace will be appointed next year. At least 2 will be appointed for the 2 newest, 4 for Vava'o, 5 for Hapai, 2 for Ewa, and at least 4 for Tongatapu. This is part of the amendments made to Magistrate Court Act in 2012 by Parliament. Kalistu Nuku tells you more.
The Assistant Registrar, Raymond He, speaks more about this.
The aim of this whole project is to allow Tongans living in the remote areas outside of Tongatapu, Nuku'alofa, Vava'u, to access judicial services and legal services. As you're aware, the Ministry of Justice, like many parts of the civil service, has very limited resources. So we want to try and provide ordinary Tongans with the opportunity to seek legal assistance in as many forms as possible.
He also elaborated on the duties and roles of those appointed as Justice of the Peace.
So anything a Commissioner of Oath can do, they can do for Carvers. They will be empowered to hear and determine bail applications if the police arrest someone and they wish to obtain bail prior to a court hearing. They're empowered to issue warrants, search warrants, arrest warrants, issue subpoenas to appear before court, as well as any other powers under specific legislation. Further, as a representative of the judiciary, a JP may be asked by local officials to come along to accidents or events to act as a witness or a responsible person.
A Justice of the Peace is not be paid salary, though honorarium instead is provided as sign of a good faith and appreciation. There will also be reimbursed for the cost and expenses. Kali Situyonuku report for Television Tonga News.
A 43-year-old Tongan mother, Lavnia Langi, and her 15-year-old son, Leslie Langi, were killed in a tragic car accident earlier this week in New Zealand. The incident occurred when their car went over a bank and landed upside down in Creek as they drove through Taylorville, close to Grimmeth. New Zealand Herald reports that the woman's 4-year-old son, who was also in the car, survived the accident. The Langi family had come to the west coast from Tonga about 7 years ago for work. The husband, who worked in forestry, was on a job in Invercargill when he received the devastating news of the accident. Family members and dozens of people from the community had gathered at the Grey Base Hospital to offer their support. Highway Patrol Sergeant David Cross said weather conditions were wet and the vehicle was travelling downhill into a bend. It was the exact site halfway up a twisting hill when an Australian miner was killed in a crash on his way to the Bike River mine in July 2010. Grey District Mayor Tony Gockshorn said locals would do their best to support the family. Support provided from locals includes food and financial donations. With Christmas a week away, patients at Viola Hospital were paid a visit by the Viola Hospital Board of Visitors and presented with gifts yesterday. Kalolaine Donglava tells you more.
Patients at Viola Hospital receiving early Christmas presents from members of the Viola Hospital Board of Visitors. The chairman of the Board of Visitors, Bishop Soane Patita Paini Mafi, led his fellow members from Viola Hospital talking with patients and handing out presents. He said this is also to spread the Christmas cheer to the patients who will not be spending Christmas at home. It's rewarding to see the smiles on the faces of the children and other patients when they visit with them and hand out presents. Presents were handed out to patients in all wards at Viola Hospital. We were able to visit all the wards, and lastly we were able to visit the psychiatric ward. The board members are church leaders and other representatives from various denominations. During the program, the Tonga Police Brass Band also performed Christmas carols to entertain the patients. The patron of the Viola Hospital Board of Visitors is Her Majesty Queen Anas Ba'u, and the board was formed based on a vision of the late Queen Salote Tupo III. For Television Tonga News, I'm Kalolaine Donglava.
Whyalla Hospital's outgoing chief nursing officer will retire at the end of the month after more than 38 years of service to the Ministry of Health. She told Television Tonga News that although she faced many obstacles along the way, she's still grateful to have worked for the ministry and serving the people. Sinlato reports.
Sister Selapasi first worked at Viola Hospital as a nursing sister, May 14, 1975, at the age of 25. She will complete her duties to the Health Ministry December 31, 2013, at the age of 66, as the Chief Nursing Officer. By then, she will have served a total of 38 years, 7 months and 17 days of services to the ministry. Sister Selabasi said she always dreamt of being a nurse, and the opportunity to work for the ministry has been a privilege and a lifetime experience she will never forget. The outgoing Chief Nursing Officer adds that it's been a privilege for her to work under the guidance of 5 ministers, from Dr. Sione Tapa to the current Health Minister, Lord Tuiafitu, and working together with health directors, doctors, and the staff at the ministry. One experience she won't forget is working in the outer islands. After my studies, I came back and worked in Tongatapu for 2 years, before being transferred to work in Vava'o for 7 years. To me, I think that working in the outer islands is where you learn and experience a lot of things in your line of work, because you are not limited to one ward only. You have to be able to work in any ward delegated to you. You also engage with the community. I also had the opportunity to work in different wards in the hospital. Sister Selabasi also thanked God for guiding her during her years of service and thanked her staff members for their support and help. Everyone counts, therefore no one should be put behind or neglected. You don't have to stereotype people as poor or rich, because everyone is the same. The same thing applies to the way nurses are treated. If you're a senior or junior nurse or still studying to be a nurse, everyone should be treated the same. They have the right for their needs to be addressed. She also shared a few words that has kept her going throughout the years. Sister Selabasi says she is ready to go home, to leave her work behind her, as she is confident there are many colleagues who can continue the work she has done. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sinilato.
Also retiring from the Health Ministry is a member from Waiala Hospital's Dental Division, Dr. Ikanilato. A special farewell program was held over the weekend in his honour. The Principal Dental Officer has been serving the government for 35 years. Emma Jane Vea reports.
The Principal Dental Officer, Dr. Ikanilatu, has been treating patients at Waiala Hospital's Dental Division for 35 years. Speaking to Television Tonga News, he says he will complete his term of employment with government on the last day of this month, December 31st. I'd like to thank the Government of Tonga and the Ministry of Health for the opportunity to study overseas and work with the Ministry of Health in serving the public. I thank God for helping me fulfill my duties to the government and the people. The Chief Dental Officer of Waiala Hospital's Dental Division, Dr. Amanakfa Kovkaitau, says Dr. Latu first served with the government in 1979. Dr. Latu began by working in the Outer Islands as part of the conditions of the ministry. He participated in different training courses overseas and has been very helpful, loyal, and contributed a lot to our department. He's a hard-working dentist and the department is going to miss him a lot. A fellow colleague, oral pathologist specialist Dr. Fusfifita, also praised Dr. Latu for his commitment to his work. I'd like to represent all the staff in our department in conveying our congratulations and heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Dr. Igani Latu for his great achievement, his hard-working commitment to work, and working up until retired at the age of 60. He's a specialist in the reservation department and provides canal treatment to patients, which helps save their teeth. We've all learned a lot from him during his time at the dental division. Dr. Ikan Latu studied at the Fiji School of Medicine from 1974 to 1978. He graduated with a diploma in dental surgery and was also awarded a gold medal in clinical dentistry. He started working at Waiala Hospital's dental department as a dental officer in 1979 before being promoted to a senior dental officer and finally a principal dental officer. He's married to Dr. Rufina Latu and they have 3 children.
The series of programs to mark the 4th day has started. Radio and Television Tonga News reporter Linda Filiai was at the program and says it began with a parade this afternoon where representatives from the 15 blocks which make up the 4 are taking part in. This is followed by refreshments and other activities. The guest of all night today's event was His Majesty's Talking Chief Lomu. A series of social events such as traditional performances, singing competitions, and sports activities will follow this week and end on Sunday. The acting town officer, Sonekolo, says they're hoping to maintain peace and harmony in the village through the social gathering. The celebrations for the 4 days today is held at the rugby field. And that's the local news. News from around the Pacific region is up next.